Him here though.
Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is day 4 on Radio Row. It is the DLLS Cowboys podcast, and we got a big one today. Woody, Darren Woodson will be coming up at about 11:30. Fran Duffy doing NFL draft stuff at 11:45. And we've talked to Mike Florio, Jay Glazer, Ron Rivera. We are loaded today. Let's go ahead and start the show. Meow. Question to start the show for you guys and everybody that's in the chat.
Let's hear it.
By the way, everything we're doing on Radio Row is presented by our friends at Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app. Get in on the action on the game this weekend. You know what I'm saying? He'll have more than those receiving yards. He'll have more than 0.5 touchdowns. Get in on there. Sleeper app. I was talking to a coworker last night. I don't know all our coworkers' names,
Fair.
So I can't tell you the name. But one of them was like, yeah, so-and-so told me that they were listening to y'all's show, and they're like, do you hear the way Jeff was talking about Jerry Jones? And like that it's not okay. Do you guys think I'll get a credential for training camp?
No.
No?
Yes, of course you will. You got one last year.
Yeah, but that's kind of an end around. Clarence, do you think I'll get a credential?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Jerry does not ban. Jerry does not ban credentials. That's what it kills me with the fans. In which you're a perfect example of it. You guys won't ask tough questions because they're going to take your credentials away. That's not how the Cowboys work. They've never worked that way.
Also, we ask the tough questions, and we just get roundabout answers.
But there's this thought process,
I know.
this little narrative.
Only I ask the tough questions,
that's not
but not
true.
to them.
But this little
Into
narrative,
the ether.
this little narrative that we're scared of Jerry because he's going to take our credentials away. That's not true. That's not how it's ever worked. With Jerry, and certainly he's not taking credentials away. You're good.
That makes
You're
me feel
good.
better because I really thought that it would probably be like, yeah, we applied for our credentials for camp, and you guys are going to go, and I'll be in the stands, and I'll catch up with you somewhere.
An e-cam link from the stands.
We can't have a booth at camp, though, and then you're screaming, Jerry sucks,
Yeah.
I don't mean to say it that way.
You just can't do that.
What if you ranted to him? What if we came on and you just ranted right to his face?
I would be fine with that. I don't know if he would.
He might engage.
No, he'd probably enjoy it. Anyway, it was just something I was wondering about.
No, that's a good question.
Thanks to our friends at Sleeper for getting us here to Radio Row in New Orleans. And we do have a jam-packed broadcast today.
Huge.
We will start off with...
You going to introduce us?
Oh, yeah. We'll start off with introducing ourselves. Hi, I'm
Nice.
Jeff. Next to me is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Clarence Hill.
I'm Pop.
He's unk.
Next to him is... He's unk sometimes.
He's unk for the rest of the week.
Next to him is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Mr. Joe Hoyt.
Joe!
And these two men deserve a shout-out for this week so far. This place is insane. There are people everywhere. And the job that you two gentlemen have done tracking people down and getting things that are good for a broadcast has been kick-ass. So you're both heroes.
Can I piggyback on your shout-out with another shout-out to Clarence? I've been blown away by the amount of people that know this guy.
Yeah.
I've just been walking alongside, and all of a sudden he'll dap up this person. I thought he was dapping up that person, but then I look around, and he's already dapping up another person.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Clarence Hill, so whenever you get info from Unk, just know that it's from verified sources,
Pop.
and this guy knows his stuff.
Sir.
Pop.
I'm old.
Yeah,
Been
well, now
around.
why are you trying to
You're
get
not
other
supposed to
drops?
every time we say you're old, you say I'm not.
I'm not old.
And then you say I'm old.
John, can we cut I'm old for the next drop
No,
for tomorrow? I'm old.
I'm young. I'm old and young. I'm everything.
That's an oxymoron.
I'm a conundrum.
Well, yeah, he is. He is a conundrum wrapped inside an enigma.
I love that.
Did you call me Enigma?
Yeah, I did.
Can't call me the Enigma.
I did.
You can't use an enigma
I
word.
ended it with an A.
Enigma.
I ended
Yeah.
with an A.
It was a soft ending.
I'm just making sure.
It was a soft ending.
I can't help but think that our first topic of discussion is a setup, and I'm not ranting today.
No rant.
Lies. Cap.
But Clarence caught up with Mike Florio yesterday of Pro Football Talk, and they had themselves a little Jerry Jones conversation, and we're just going to play it for you, and then I'm not going to rant. They're going to talk.
Eagles in the Super Bowl 3 times last 8 years. Obviously, how Jeffrey Lurie and Harry Roseman run their team different than the Cowboys. Are they the anti-Cowboys in a sense? Or is this like a referendum on how the Cowboys do business compared to how the Eagles do business? They have great drafts, but they also supplement their things with ratings. They have a delineation between ownership and GM.
Well, Clarence, I think the real question is, how do the Cowboys define success? Devin McCourty and I had some fun with it last week after Steven tried to downplay the drought. He called it a drought that people say we're in. You know why we say they're in a drought? Because they are in a drought.
Right.
It's been 30 years since an NFC championship, but is it a drought when they're making it rain dollar bills?
Right.
And they're profitable and they're the most popular brand, and anytime one of their games is on national TV, 25 million people tune in, that sun might be setting. That's the concern, and I think they're sensitive to it. I think that's why, Clarence, that they snuck the Brian Schottenheimer head coaching hiring news into 9:45 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night. They knew what the reaction was going to be, so they're starting to, I think, become a little concerned about what might happen to their brand. But I think Jerry, and I read his testimony from the Sunday Ticket antitrust case last summer. It is obvious. All he cares about is being interesting.
Right.
You want to be interesting. Winning is secondary. If you define success based on whether or not you win the Super Bowl, you're going to be pissed off a lot. If you define success based on are you interesting, are you drawing a bigger crowd, I think more impressive than winning any Super Bowl over the last 30 years is him keeping that team where they are in the overall profile by having the longest drought in the NFC of 30 years now, by 15 years over the Bears. Think about that. 30 years, not in the Final Four, and they're still America's team. Now, that might be slipping. The Chiefs might have something to say about it, but still, to be as popular as they've been for as long as they've been and not be at the highest levels of the sport, that's more impressive than winning a Super Bowl.
More impressive than winning a Super Bowl.
You know what? Technically, I think he's right. Like, what is more impressive? Like, let's pick a team that won like a random Super Bowl. Like when Joe Flacco and the Ravens won a Super Bowl. That's awesome.
Elite.
Is it more impressive that they won a Super Bowl once, or is it more impressive that every year you are the most popular, most valuable, most watched, most clicked on, yes, what the Cowboys have built is technically, I think, more impressive. It's just a matter of average fan couldn't give a crap less, right?
But it's also a
That is more
self-sustaining
impressive.
machine. But it's also kind of a self-sustaining machine at this point, right?
But is
In
it
terms
more
of the money.
Is it more impressive when you were already that team? I mean, I know he bought the
That's what I'm
Cowboys
saying.
in a deficit, and they were
Right, so they weren't that
hemorrhaging,
team.
but popularity they were. They were still popular.
Were they the most popular football team
I think so. Yeah,
in
they've been America's
1988
team.
or 89?
Well, I mean, it's been a
that was-
self-sustaining machine for a while now, at the very least. They built it. But hey, if I lose weight and then I say, you know what, I'm good, it's not going to self-sustain. And if I just stop working out,
And the value is based on the stadium. It's based on the star.
But
as
a lot
much
of
as
people
based
have
on-
$1 billion to $2 billion stadiums now, and they're not worth more than the Cowboys. I like what Florio is saying in terms of, I think there's something that was encouraging in there.
Really?
Which is-
Oh, wow.
Yes, I do.
it better be encouraging.
There's something that's encouraging in there, or at least I hope what he is saying is true, and I think it could be that this past season and the way they've been covered for the last 6 months is a kick in the ass of Jerry Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's-
Like, he's never, in my experience, he's never been as defensive or snappy as he has when being asked about this past off season over and over again, and that it's really become a story about salary caps, but how much cash and all of these things.
He listens.
He's hearing that, and I don't know. Does that make them change anything about the way that they do business or what their priorities are? Probably not.
No.
But to have an awareness and just know that Jerry wants to be viewed a certain way. Jerry does not want to be viewed as I am not trying to win or I care about all these other things more. And I mean, he does push that on his own. But I do think that if he gets agitated enough, bothered enough, and maybe embarrassed is the word.
It
you
would
don't
have
want to be
to be
embarrassed.
It would have to be embarrassed.
Then could that change the way that you do things a little bit? And I don't know, but I do think that he's reached a point this season, much like the fan base level of apathy has reached. I'd never seen Jerry that like standoffish and yelling at people when he gets questioned in post games.
Yeah, and to your point, like, how would this even change? Like, I think in order for Cowboys fans to inflict change, you might have to take a page of the Mavs book after the Luka Doncic trade. You know, you see ticket prices going down. There's literally a GoFundMe right now, started by a guy named Jacob Posner, that's over $30,000 for anti-Nico and Adelson billboards to go up around Dallas. I think if you can get that narrative going, that might have a chance of inflicting some kind of embarrassment upon Jerry Jones. But I also don't know if that would do it.
Listen,
guys. Just if you have to take it, it's cool.
I don't have. He's trying to. He's supposed to get on the show. Trying to get on the show. But listen, guys. I was here in the '90s.
Were you?
After the Jimmy Johnson stuff, all the drugs scandals. Remember the drug scandal? Where were you in the late '90s when they couldn't draft Michael Irvin? They couldn't draft Randy Moss because all the guys.
Because Randy smoked weed.
Well, because all the guys were suspended for drugs.
I, at that time, was in the White House with the Cowboys.
So,
yeah.
Jerry's taken arrows before. He's taken a lot of arrows before. Of course, they were still, I guess, in the aftermath of the Super Bowl glory, so it didn't sting as much.
Yeah.
But he's taken arrows. I certainly there's more media now, but I would agree with you. He has taken more shots over the last 4 or 5 years than he ever has because of social media, because of all the different shows. But he's taken arrows before. The difference is he had the Super Bowls. I don't know if you remember he had a famous line back in the early 2000s. Did you like those Super Bowl titles? Did you like those 3 Super Bowl titles? Yeah, I think you did very much. Well, he doesn't have that to lean on anymore.
So are you saying that there's really no shot of change?
I mean, Jerry's going to be...
Actually, and we talked to Darren Woodson about that, too.
No, because he continues to talk about, when people... I'm not changing who I am. He said when they built the stadium, and he talked about this, that they, when they were building the stadium, some advisor told him, you need to remove yourself to get the stadium built, to get the stadium sold in Arlington. And he said, I'm not doing that because this is who I am. And they got the stadium built, got record money, they got it paid off, and that emboldened him to say that how I do things, how I run this organization works. It works for me because, again, the stadium is why they're the richest franchise in sports, and advisors told him he needs to remove himself if he's going to get the stadium built, and that didn't happen, and certainly he succeeded in spite of, and so...
Do you think that's why it got built the wrong way? Do you think Jerry was the architect too? Nobody tells me which way the sun goes.
The architect's like, sir, I'm telling you, there's going to be light during your games. Don't worry about it.
You don't know that.
But I agree with that. I agree that in some instance Jerry continues to win the Super Bowls because the Cowboys remain relevant. They remain talked about. They haven't won on the field, but they're number one in the box office.
Yeah, and it's not going to change. The thing about it is that doesn't have to mean like it's unwinnable, Like I guess we disagreed yesterday on if they've been competitive, but they've at least been competitive-ish. Yeah, like you can do it this way. You're just making life hard on everybody, and things have to go perfectly if you expect this thing.
And nothing goes perfect, and things haven't gone perfect with the Chiefs. They just got a guy that makes things right at the end, and Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah, that could help too. If we could get Mahomes on the team, I think that would help. I think that would be good.
Yeah, they can overcome a lot of ills. You got to have things right, but it's not going to go perfect. But yeah, this team, this franchise, I continue to say you can't serve two masters. I continue to say that you cannot, and some people disagree. Darren Woodson will talk about he thinks Jerry's done a good job. And it's not just on Jerry, but
does that mean Woody's just too nice?
No, but he even said, because I asked him okay, well, if there's no problems, then if there's no consequences for the owner, how hard is that to change who you are in terms of the on-field stuff? And he's like, honestly, that is a problem.
Yeah. Again,
good conversation.
You can't serve two masters. You can't be all about winning and all about selling.
What master do you serve?
The Lord.
The Lord,
See?
number one.
Yeah.
DLLS.
But if you had
DLLS, number two.
Two masters.
Can you serve two masters?
Can't serve two masters.
No.
So who you not? DLS, we're
That's
sorry.
that's
We're not
tough.
getting the full Clarence Hill because he's given himself fully to God.
Clarence
Okay.
would like to apologize to our Lord and Savior as he is
Can't serve two masters. You
serving
feed one.
DLLS. Coming up next, we do have Darren Woodson. We have a conversation with Darren Woodson coming up at 11:30. So here in about 15 minutes, and then we're going to do some draft stuff with the great Fran Duffy at 11:45. But coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we hear from Ron Rivera and from Jay Glazer. We got some Schotty stuff for you. Can we keep finding Cowboys optimism? We've tried it multiple times in the last 2 days. Have we accomplished it? I don't think so. But maybe we do it next.
You know, I talked earlier about, the Luka trade and, what the Mavs fans can do. Well, you know what you could do if you're still a Mavs fan? You could get really cheap tickets right now on Game Time because Mavs tickets, that's low stock, buy them now. The last night the Warriors got Jimmy Butler for more than what the Lakers had to give up to get Luka Doncic. What?
Chill out.
Okay. He's chill. But you can go see the Warriors and Jimmy Butler versus the Mavs coming up here on Game Time. Game Time is fantastic, man. They have super deals that they curated for you. They got all-in pricing. No need to worry about all those fees and anything like that. You'll know right from the beginning. You get to know exactly where you're going before you even go because you get to see yourself virtually in your own seat. It's fantastic. I love Game Time. Been using it for a long time. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code DLLS. That's DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Reminder, DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. What time is it?
Game time. Who? See, Clarence wants us to be deep with it, but doesn't even join in sometimes.
Game time, Roo!
Just out there chilling.
What was that?
I'd like to shout out to our new friends at Lucy.
Lucy.
Lucy. And what Lucy is, it's a tasty little pouch. You go,
Ooh.
wata.
What do you do?
You go, wata.
There you go.
And what it is it's 100% pure nicotine, but it's always tobacco free. So you could be in a spot like I am where you have not been tobacco free your entire life and you're desperately trying to escape that because you're tired of being ashamed of yourself. And so Lucy is going to help me out. I got pouches on the way. They got pouches. They got gum. They have both of those different things. And I'm going to try to use them as a way to get away from my tobacco. So I just have my little nicotine pouch. And they have these pouches with a little extra surprise. Each one holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. You need to go to lucy.co/DLLS, and that gets you 20% off your first order.
Her name was Lucy.
Lucy, I'm home. Sorry to bring up an ad after that, but he did it, so I figured I'd
was-
join in too.
No, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I think if everybody breaks the show together, that's great. You know?
Well, once it's been broken, can it be fixed?
Yeah, we're going to fix it right now.
Okay, let's go.
Shout out to our friends at Sleeper. Thanks for getting us out here to Radio Row. You are the best. Download the Sleeper app on your phone and get to making them picks.
You know what I'm picking on Sleeper?
What you picking?
Juju Smith-Schuster touchdown.
Oh, you like to go for the get you a big odds, a nice
I
little
like
bump
it.
to that return.
That's right, man. If you're going to go in, go big.
Yeah, I like what you're doing there.
Yeah. What about you, Clarence? What's your
Xavier Worthy touchdown, baby.
Oh.
Xavier Worthy touchdown. Hook 'em hard.
Always make your picks with your heart, not your head.
The speed. He's been a big part of the offense in the playoffs. They've been feeding him the ball. He scored against Buffalo. He's going to score against Philly.
We got
I like
any?
it.
I think this Super Bowl is going to be like 17-13.
Low scoring?
Do you realize these are the two teams in the NFL who are number 1 and 2 in how long their average drive is in terms of plays? They're both good defenses that don't give up big plays, and they're the two longest driving offenses in football. This game is going to have 4 possessions in each half. Every team is going to touch the ball 4 times, and then we're going home.
Did you see the stat that Sal Palantonio had about Eagles playing on this turf this season? 5-0, and they're allowing a league low 10 points a game on this kind of turf.
Okay, I like the turf.
I
like
it.
Turf analysis.
I like it.
I like that.
It's fast. The defense is fast. They're going to get after it. Can Patrick Mahomes use his mobility to kind of shake off? I'm not sure.
So when Saquon breaks for 60,
That's what I'm saying.
doesn't spin, jumps backwards
You know the
over
Cowboys.
somebody.
The Cowboys didn't even call him.
They didn't call.
They
Did
didn't
you
call
guys
Saquon.
know that 21 of the 22 states that have legalized gambling on whatever website I saw this on are betting Eagles? only one is betting Chiefs, and it's the state of Kansas.
Not even the state of Missouri?
Not even.
Not even the show me
So
state?
I believe on
Show me
whatever
something.
So on whatever site that was, or in general, I'm not sure. Missouri does not have legalized sports gambling, so they didn't get to
Well,
get
you
the
know,
max.
like I've been trying to tell people, on paper, I would pick Philadelphia. They have the better team.
They have the better offensive line. They have the better running back. They have the better wide receivers. They have the better
Yeah.
defensive line. They have the better linebackers. They have the better secondary. They just don't have the better quarterback or the better coach.
Right.
I think I'm going to pick the Eagles. We'll talk about more.
You know,
tomorrow,
it's
but I
the
think I'm
same
gonna pick
reason
the Eagles.
why I thought, I picked Buffalo on paper. But Patrick Mahomes is the difference.
I wanna pick the Chiefs. I think the Eagles are gonna beat them, but then I'm gonna feel like one of the things I like to think about when you're making picks.
Yeah.
Which one of these will make me feel the dumbest if I'm wrong? And the
I don't-
answer
is
is
that the
picking against the Chiefs. Like, I'm going to pick the Eagles to win. And when the Chiefs win, it's like, what were you thinking? And I'm like, well, it made sense.
Is that the healthiest way to pick?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I know,
I
but
don't
like,
think
is
you
it-
can feel dumb being wrong with I don't think you can be dumb.
They're going to three-peat against Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to pick the Eagles.
But not just Jalen Hurts, against that damn defense and all those
I know.
players.
Trent McDuffie's
It's not
a stud,
just
man.
against Saquon Barkley. I mean, the Eagles are a damn good team.
Oh,
They're
sorry,
not-
Eagles, my
they
bad.
didn't accidentally get here.
Saquon Barkley's a running back.
There you go. Get that bull.
We visits with Ron Rivera yesterday. We were sitting right here and had a lovely conversation with Ron Rivera. He had a great Cowboys joke before he left. Maybe I'll tell you his Cowboys joke before we're done.
Yeah.
And also Jay Glazer talked to Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
And which one do we want first? We want Jay or we want
Let's
Ron?
go with Jay.
Let's go Jay first.
All right, Jay Glazer on Brian Schottenheimer and Mike McCarthy,
Little scoop
actually.
here. Little scoop.
Scoop.
Troy
Yeah.
Aikman talked
I
about
would have resign Mike in 2 seconds, absolutely, because that position also, like, the Cowboys are different than every other place, right?
Right.
It's like the amount of attention and keeping the circus out,
Right.
separated. I think Mike did a great job
He
doing
did.
that. Yeah.
Well, how would Brian do? I mean, you know Brian. We know Marty from years, but, obviously.
Oh, and Mike actually helped Brian with his interview. Like, that's pretty selfless of him.
How did he help Brian with his interview?
He talked to him. They talked to him. He's like, hey, man, when you go and meet with him, this is important. He actually helped him.
That is amazing.
I know, right?
That
It's
just
really
shows you-
selfless. I
that
know.
shows you how selfless
I
it
know.
is.
So that's probably right after Mike realized, like, I'm not accepting what you're offering me. And then it was like, Brian's going to interview, and it's like, I still like you. I'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a window behind the curtain. Now, just did I say the window curtain?
Window behind the curtain.
Did I say
Behind
that
the
right?
curtain.
I didn't say that right?
You're going to peel
That's
back the curtain.
pull
Peel back the curtain is the
Let me
phrase.
pull back the curtain.
So you can see
Pee
the
on your
window.
eyes and tell me it's rain.
Again. It didn't sound right when it came out of my mouth. It was like, hey, let me stop this
Phrasing.
out. But Jay Glazer is really close with Mike McCarthy. Okay,
Yeah.
he's close with the Cowboys, close with Steven, close with Jerry. When he says these things, he's just not pulling it out of his butt.
Well, also
Okay?
in the interview yesterday with him, he said, yeah, I talked to him 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember before the interview, yeah.
Yeah, he talked to Mike Face, so he's very close with him. He's been close with him. So the fact that Mike would help Brian Schottenheimer, there's this thought process. I talked to one of Mike's people as well that Brian had to bite his. Brian didn't really have to bite it. I mean, that sounds good. It's a great sound bite by Jerry.
Yeah.
But
Deference.
Mike brought Brian here to be his sounding board, to be his right-hand man. I just can't see him biting his lip, when it comes to the offense, especially when everybody says that Schottenheimer played a huge role in the turnaround of the offense last year,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden he's biting his lip when it comes. I just don't buy those things. But, again, Mike being selfless, helping Schottenheimer with the interview once he knows that he's not going to be the guy. I mean, that tells you the type of guy Mike is. I know my interaction with him, certainly your interaction with him. I like the guy. I think he did. He was great with the media, and he always cared about his assistant coaches. And so this is just another example of that.
One thing I kind of heard, though, too, in terms of, I don't think he bit his lip, but I also don't know if every single Brian Schottenheimer idea made its way up into the.
Well, that's two different conversations.
Exactly, yeah.
That's two different conversations, though.
No, that's what I'm illustrating. Is that I don't know if we're talking about what's the difference between Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer. We'll see in terms of the actual play calling, because I'm not sure everything he wanted got in there. But the other line that Jay had in there, and we're going to talk about it with Ron too, is that Mike was able to. We talk about the circus and the culture and the tours. They said that Mike was able to really keep out that stuff, and then the locker room distinct, right? Separate. And that's the one thing Ron said that Brian Schottenheimer's going to have to do.
Yeah, and I do think it's interesting. It better be interesting. I do think it's funny. It
Wow,
better
we
be
didn't even
funny.
get through
I don't
that.
think it's funny.
Wow.
But the whole, because it's just what we do. I think it's the natural hopium of sports. Is whenever a coach leaves, that's okay because he was holding us back. And whoever the next guy
no
is,
doubt.
well, he was definitely being held back if he was already here.
Backup quarterback theory, man.
Or his ideas are definitely better than the guy who's leaving. Like Dan Quinn left, that's okay because he wasn't any good. His team was awful in that Green Bay game. I can't have him running my defense, and then he has a great year in Washington. It's like, you miss Dan Quinn, don't you? And it's like, I don't know.
I feel
don't know.
like the Quinn idea that was more flawed than what the potential hopium of Brian Schottenheimer, because we haven't seen Brian Schottenheimer call plays in 2 seasons, right? That was Mike McCarthy's thing. And I think with Dan Quinn, we had seen enough historically with him to be like, hey, man, this guy generates turnovers. They've had really, really good defenses. I think in the Packers game specifically, you had to switch things up because you had Stephon Gilmore kind of playing injured and couldn't do a bunch of things that normally he could do. So I think that was a fatal flaw, that last thing. But I don't know if that's indicative of the entire Dan Quinn experience. And the other thing, too, is when he was going from D.C. to head coach, we knew that he was likable and that players would want to play for him. Apparently that might be the same thing with Schottenheimer, but we don't know.
Let's go to Ron Rivera, who we had sit down. By the way, there is a ton of stuff. YouTube.com/@DLLS_sports. You're probably on there right now watching us. But, I mean, the amount of different content that is on there that's not going to be in our daily show, that are long-form interviews or a few minutes with different people when it comes to your Cowboys, holy crap. Click around the YouTube page and find all the stuff that these guys have been getting put up there. It's amazing. But we had Ron Rivera, who was sitting down with us right here talking about Schotty. And which part are we polling? Which part
We're doing
is
the part about like keeping like locker room set, or the challenges that Brian Schottenheimer's gonna have to do now that he's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
How can you do that when Jerry's so focused on the other stuff? And that seeps into the locker room.
Because, that's one of the things you've got to try and prevent. You've got to try and keep it out of the locker room as much as possible. And you got to get players to understand that too. And you got to get players, it's understood the players answer to the coach. Mm-hmm. Okay? Sure, he's the owner and everybody knows he's a big personality. That's great. But he wants to win just as well.
You believe that he wants to
win?
Oh,
he does.
Yes.
I believe he does.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I think what people have to understand is, and the players have to be on board too, is that, hey, we got to handle the distractions ourselves as well. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just me as the head coach. I'm always directing. It's got to be handled that way.
You know, I asked the question because he kept focused on how it's the coach's job to keep the distractions out the locker room. Coach's job to keep the distractions out the locker room. Players got to, the media, when they ask these questions, you got to focus. And it's not the coaches, it's not the players, it's Jerry in Dallas that are making distractions and saying and doing things that are causing troubles. And it's interesting because we're talking about a guy in Rivera who actually interviewed for the Cowboys head coaching job. Actually
might
still be trying to. That's why he's being so nice about it.
Actually interviewed for the defensive coordinator job last year, you know. So he knows Jerry.
Yeah.
He knows, how it works within the organization. And so, again, it's the Cowboys' job is different than any other job because of the Jerry dynamic.
Yeah, and there was one thing when we talked to him, and again, you can see the long-form interview. I'm sure it's 10 or 15 minutes on our YouTube page. But there was one thing that he mentioned. I forgot what point in his coaching career he was talking about, but it was one thing that set off an alarm bell with me kind of for Schotty, where he was talking about one thing that I realized that I needed was somebody who was a former head coach.
This did the same thing with me. Yeah.
And we're going with a guy who has not been a head coach, and he does not have the thing that Ron Rivera was like. And then I realized there's something I really needed, which was somebody who's been here and somebody who has that experience.
Well, you got that in Matt Eberflus. It just wasn't successful.
Do we want to get Silver now?
Yes. It just wasn't a successful former head coach.
All right, well, let's step aside real quick, knock that out, and we'll bring in – we're going to talk to Mike Silver right here in a second. We're going to do it next on the Cowboys DLLS podcast.
Okay.
Hey, Mike. Mike, if you want some sunglasses, you can get Shady Rays. They're very, very good, Mike. So you don't need them, but Shady Rays is fantastic for you guys. Shady Rays has been rated over 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They have hundreds of styles to choose from. I know we all have them here. We don't have them on right now, but we've loved them. I took them on my honeymoon, for example, and, man, I got some cool photos. I got a lot of compliments. Those things were insane to have there. You know, the cool thing, too, about Shady Rays is that if you break them, they'll send them on back, and they'll send you a new pair. They are great. They're good for activity. They're good to when you're even working out or going for a run. They are stylish. I'm a big fan of them. Get ready for the season ahead. You know, we're kind of in the throes of winter right now in February, but soon, you know, when spring comes around, you're going to want to be outside with those sunglasses on. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is going to have the best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it yourself because they're rated by 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Remember, that code is DLLS. Go get your Shady Rays today.
Shout out to our friends at Sleeper as well. I love me some Sleeper. I like to have a little extra interest in things, and you can do that with Sleeper. For instance, the game this weekend, you could just pop onto Sleeper and say, hey, I think that this player is going to have more than his projected passing yards. I think that this guy is going to have less than the number of receptions that are projected for him. And that's what you do. You go through and you show off how much you know ball with the by making picks right there on the Sleeper app. They're also the ones who helped us get out here to do these shows for you. So we love our friends at Sleeper. The promo code that you need is DLLS Boys, and with that, new users, you download the Sleeper app, you use DLLS Boys as your promo code, you get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. It's that easy. All you got to do is know what you're talking about. And you can do this with any sport. You can do some Anthony Davis stuff. You think more or less points than they're going to project for him, et cetera, et cetera. And the more picks that you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Shout out to our friends at Sleeper. Check out Sleeper today. All right, we're just going to wing it. We're just going to wing it on in here because Mike Silver's walking by. He was looking for, I'm sure he was looking for Clarence. I don't think he was looking for me or you, Joe. I think.
Definitely not looking for Joe.
No.
Okay.
Definitely not looking for me.
I don't mind seeing you. I was absolutely looking for Chill. And the reason why is because, and by the way, I called him twice.
I was on air.
I offered him his phone. I saw your name,
literally.
and I went, if you
And
need
he
to
was
take
like,
it.
So here's the thing. There are very, 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 very few of my peers that I would actually feel obligated to appear on their show in the middle of all this. But that is one because we go all the way back.
Mike, can you give this a little bend up on the microphone?
It's the first time I've been told to be louder in my entire existence.
Yeah, give us more.
I believe.
Shit.
I don't think that has ever happened and probably never will again. Yeah, so, you know, Chill and I go all the way back to the old days where, and I think your listeners know, he keeps it 100% real, 100% of the time, and I'd like to think I have a similar approach.
I appreciate it, man. We go way back to late nights with Jerry Jones at the owners' meeting, drinking. We're just us in the lobby with Jerry Jones, drinking wine and Johnny Walker Blue, and him telling stories out of school.
That's why you won't ask him the tough questions.
Yeah, you're indebted to him. Chill.
The great thing about Jerry is you actually can.
That's what
He don't care.
Thank you.
Like, let me tell a story. I was at Sports Illustrated in the 90s, so obviously I was around I started in 94, so I was around, you know, covered the 95 championship team extensively. And then it got a little worse, and then the White House happened, and Michael Irvin and all that. And I came to town, like, during the Irvin trial. It was a disaster. And Jerry knew I was there, so he made sure they brought me up to the suite at the old stadium,
Right.
like a couple hours before the game, because I'd been there all week. And he's like, I know why you're here. Now let me give my side. And that's how it's supposed to work. And I wrote an article that was very, critical of what was going on. It wasn't an opinion piece. It was just fact. Mm-hmm. But it did have Jerry Jones, words in it. And I worked for him at NFL Network. He understood that to be a legitimate network, which I think we were at the time at least, you had to be able to cover it in a real way. And Jerry can take the criticism. You got to deal with it every day, so you guys might touch a nerve a little more because you have to criticize him more.
Well, I think he's going to be okay now because he's no longer the worst GM in town as of last week. So there's that.
Right.
Is that the dumbest trade in the history of
what was
sports?
your reaction to that one?
I have sons who were raised big Warrior fans. I grew up as a Warrior fan in L.A., and all my Laker fan friends used to taunt me, including Steve Kerr, who it turns out knows I was right now. Yeah. So my sons really enjoyed, this era in a way that was really special. And now my son is actually on the radio at KMBR every day in San Francisco with Greg Papa and talks about them a lot. And my son Greg, he really took it about as well as I think every Dallas Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
He does not like the Lakers, and he thought it was just insane.
Yeah.
So everyone's saying, well, there must be something else. I don't know if there's something else, but Jason Kidd, a proud Cal Bear like me, he didn't look happy.
No, he
no.
looked like a hostage.
No, he did. They's like, hey, me and Jay Kidd have this vision together. And
We're aligned. And
we're
Jason's
aligned.
like-
And Jason's like, we?
Did you guys get frustrated with Luka's conditioning?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did a little.
Yeah.
But I didn't care as much because I live in California.
Yeah, I think he's one of the biggest bitch at the refs guy in the league, and that's annoying. And I think the conditioning is annoying. And I think he's one of the 3 best players on the planet. And he's 25 years old.
Yes.
So what are you going to do? You're going to keep playing basketball.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, still scores 73 in a game and can take you onto the NBA Finals with one leg. But hey, first-round pick Anthony Davis and Max Christie.
Also, hey, we're trusting it all to Kyrie to be our leader.
Yeah, no
What could
problem.
go wrong?
When has that ever gone
Nothing
wrong?
will break down. Nothing weird will happen.
He's such a cohesive thinker. He's just right on that line of everything you want, your leader to be.
Mike, one thing we talked with Ron Rivera yesterday, going back to Cal, by the way, speaking of Cal, we talked with him yesterday, was about whether or not Jerry actually wants to win, whether he can't serve 2 different things in terms of being the most valuable franchise and actually trying to be the one on the field and have that kind of success. What do you think?
It's such a fair question, and for years and years and years I defended him in that way because I know him so well, and I know he's all in. All he cares about is trying to win. He's not distracted like some of these other owners with other things. But I do think it's a fair question in recent years. Look, he's close with Sean Payton. He knows what a great coach Sean Payton is. Mm-hmm. And there were moments 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 4 years ago where Sean Payton was there for the taking. It was known via trade or via what ended up happening. And Jerry decided not to go out and do it. Then I think 2 seasons ago, the 2023 season, if he had fired Mike McCarthy after that Packer game, I don't think anyone in football or on your listeners would have said, that's crazy. I mean, Mike had won a lot of games, but that playoff game was such a debacle, and I know the final score ended up looking okay, but I don't think anyone would have freaked out if he fired Mike McCarthy and tried to get Vrabel or Belichick or whoever. Could have had Schotty, by the way, then.
That's right.
So does he – I've always said all he wants to do is win. Not getting Peyton, not getting Vrabel, not trying to get Belichick. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. That's what we get to deal with every day. And
so, what do you think? I mean, Schotty's a good dude. He's done some really good things in football. How do you feel about it?
It's hard because I don't want to hold an opportunity against it. Like, it's not his fault. It's like people are going to boo Anthony Davis when the Mavericks play.
Right.
And it's not his fault.
Would you rather have Anthony Davis coaching the Cowboys this year? If Schotty called plays on offense.
Yeah, that would be fine. Yeah, that would be fine. No, I think it's a hard spot for him, for like a guy who this has been his dream job forever, and the way that you get it is with an inept general manager running a fake coach search, not being interested in all of the big-time candidates because it's the guy he's comfortable with. Like, you're going to catch some of the crap off of that, and that sucks. Well, this should be the best day of his life. He achieved his dream job, and we're all sitting here going, yeah, but look at how many qualified people they didn't go after.
The good news for me is that now anything that Jerry might have gotten upset about on this segment that came out of my mouth is going to be dwarfed because you guys are going away stronger.
Oh, you'll be safe.
You'll
be safe.
Thank you.
If I'm here, you'll be safe.
Yeah. Did the process surprise you?
Yeah. Yeah. It really did. Yeah. I mean, if you knew you weren't keeping Mike, why are you playing around and doing it days after the season? Or did you think Mike would just take a 1-year, whatever deal because he wanted to stay, and you figured you'd just do that? Why wouldn't you float that to Mike in December? Like, you knew you weren't going to the playoffs. You knew Mike's contract was up. Why would you wait and be behind? Other teams already had interims. I mean, you want to at least be at the forefront of it. You could talk to the Belichicks of the world anytime, right? So I don't understand the process. And you could also make a case like, why not just wait and see what Kellen Moore decides to do, Kellen would have had to choose between Cowboys and Saints by now,
Right.
unofficially. So they didn't seem to want to wait for Kellen either.
Yeah, and my opinion on that is, Jerry, if you're listening, don't for a second. Because that sometimes if you have everything in the world, and maybe it's not his primary goal, but I think it is. Like, he's the most visible, most valuable franchise in the world. He's winning his Super Bowl every year when the Forbes list comes out. You expect that people are going to do what you want and that everything will be exactly as you wish it. So, I don't have to line these things up. Mike will come back with whatever I offer him because I'm me.
Yeah.
And he's him. And the world is here to serve me. And I think that's how Jerry's brain works.
But don't you think he's had enough contract situations that didn't go that way?
You mean Dak bending him over twice?
But
Not in those words. What I meant was you mean waiting too long to sign the quarterback and then having to give in to all his demands is what I meant.
Figuratively.
Yes, figuratively.
I would think that the contracts have gone on long enough and they've paid up enough in the end, and they've lacked flexibility because of it.
Yeah.
So I would think he would have, but maybe it's different when it comes to coaches. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he assumed that Mike wouldn't have a market, and so he would take whatever I give him. That's what I think happened.
Well, Mike didn't have a market, and he didn't take whatever he gave him.
Right.
Plot
right.
twist.
Yeah. Some
Mike,
people have pride. It's
Mike,
tough.
what you working on?
Well, I have my book here, The Why is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. That is about the Shanahan-McVay tree in all its petty splendor, lots of rivalry. They've changed the game, but there's a lot of dirt in there, too. I think people will love it. It's available everywhere. I have done a lot this Super Bowl. I was able to report that the NFL is ending racism. Oh, wait, no. I reported that.
I was glad when they did that.
Yes. I reported that no longer will end racism be in the end zone. Coincidentally, President Trump will be at the game. Weird. I wrote a big Travis Kelce thing that's out now. Kind of has some cool stuff in there. Wrote about Howie Roseman, and I'll, of course, be covering the game. So excited to be here with The Athletic. And watching the tornado that is Diana Rossini do her thing right here on Radio Row. It's great.
You Shanahan McVay, and you talk about the tree. The Cowboys don't have that in Schottenheimer. There's so much talk about this bright offensive mind, how they do things. He admitted that when he was in Seattle that Pete Carroll told him, why don't you copy some of the stuff they're doing? Learn some stuff and incorporate that offense. Is that the way of the coordinators are going now? Is the Cowboys losing something because they're not getting one of those quote-unquote bright offensive minds? Because no one will say Schotty's a bright offensive mind. He's not modernizing football and revolutionizing things with his offense.
Well, it's interesting. So, let's look at Houston. Bobby Slowick is from this tree. Mm-hmm. He was with Kyle, and they'd switched him over. He was a defensive quality control coach on that great Washington staff in the 2010s with Raheem, McDaniel, Matt LaFleur, Kyle, and Sean McVay. Then he ends up on offense. He goes to the Texans. C.J. Stroud has one of the great rookie seasons the quarterback's ever had. Bobby Slowick is getting head coaching heat. He's the next one.
Yep.
Now he's fired.
Yeah.
And by the way, they went 10-7 and won a playoff game. So my reporting on Slowick being fired suggests that there was a sense that, okay, you took all Kyle's plays that and you ran them, but now defensive coordinators spent the offseason adjusting to it, and you didn't have a counter. So when I say the why is everything, McVay and Shanahan and those guys, to them, there has to be a purpose behind everything you put in. It's not just a cool play. It's an ecosystem, and it all ties together. And you have to justify why that play exists in your game plan that week against this opponent and what you would do if they counter it. They want to be able to tell the players that. So there's a comprehensive understanding of the people at the forefront of the tree, and you just don't know if the people coming out of it are just going to be copying cool plays and concepts, or they're really going to be able to do their own stuff.
Mike, before we let you go, what's the best Clarence story you can tell us?
I don't think you could tell any of
I
it.
don't think I can tell.
There's got to be one.
Well, there's one I'll tell.
He's scared.
In the early days of the combine, I think, I don't know, I was hanging out with Jarrett Bell or one of my friends, and we ended up in a bar, and all of a sudden, it was like a who's who of black journalists and me. There were like Michael Wilbon, Brian Burwell, like legends, and me. And apparently it was a thing, it was a thing you guys have been doing. What was it called?
Hey, we do it just to meet up every year to combat that I organize.
It was called Black Folk. It was some great name, and like all of a sudden I just kind of got to stay. I don't know. Nobody asked me to leave. It was very nice. It ended racism for a second, but like I was so honored. But I think like. I was expecting Chill the next year to be like, "Hey Silver, we meet at 6 o'clock at so and so." And I think it was a one-off. I was back to being a white journalist.
You never got the invite again?
No, but I cherish that time.
Allowed at the cook-off, but not going out of our way to get you there. Yeah, that's good. Mike Silver, thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you guys. I totally appreciate it.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, we're gonna figure out what we're doing next because I don't think Darren Woodson we can do
I
later.
think what if we go?
Emmitt Smith might be on his way to the table. Fran Duffy was going to talk draft, so I think we're going to talk to Emmitt.
I cut Fran. I told him.
Fran got fired.
Fran got cut,
which is
he
unfortunate.
didn't get invited back to the cookout.
We got him tomorrow. We can do Woody tomorrow. We got Emmitt. Emmitt
Is
just
Emmitt coming
texted
on?
me and said they're coming through. So
Okay.
that's kind of why I was distracted. I was trying to talk to
No
Emmitt's
doubt,
guy.
no
Yeah,
doubt.
when
Emmitt-
your best friend was sitting here and you wouldn't even look him
I
in the
know.
eye
I'm sorry,
because you were
Emmitt
busy
was-
worried about Emmitt.
He's busy.
Yeah,
He is a busy man.
that's a busy man. All right, so
his biggest story on me is we fought about Mac Brown and Cal football, but we'll talk about that later.
coming up next, Emmitt Smith joins the broadcast. How about that on the DLLS Cowboys podcast? Also, if you're here, we appreciate you watching. If you're in the chat, we appreciate you being in the chat. If you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, we sure do appreciate that as well. If you're in the super chat, like Brandon, who said it's a ridiculous joke that you think Jerry is a committed owner. He's a committed owner. I don't know how committed he is as a GM. But he's a committed owner. But if you sign up to be a diehard, that's taking it to a next level. We got a Radio Row special going on this week at alldlls.com. $48 a year to be a diehard. That gets you access to all of our premium content on the website, creates an ad-free experience on there. It gets you access to our Discord lounge where all of our diehards hang out with us, and it's super fun. It gets you a free T-shirt when you sign up from our merch shop, and they're badass. It gets you 20% discount on merch, a 20% discount on events. All of these different things can be yours for the low Radio Row price of $48 a year. So go ahead and get at. What are you giggling about?
The low price of $48 a year. The low.
The low
The
price.
low.
The low price of $48 a year.
40.
And, you can get all squared away that way. So we appreciate you guys being here. If you want to step it up and be a full-blown diehard, we appreciate that as well. And we're going to continue on here from Radio Row. Now, we're going to have to jam some stuff into tomorrow's show. We're going to have to figure it out.
We could also run Darren right after 12. We can go longer.
Oh, we could go long.
And just
Yeah, we
let,
go
yeah,
long.
we can go
Yeah,
long.
we can go long.
We can go,
Yeah.
What do you think about that plan, John?
We can't go 15 minutes long. Okay.
What
We're
do
not
you
gonna
mean?
go
I think we can go 15 long.
That's
Well,
exactly
We
the
can go
number.
15 long. Yeah.
That's perfect.
We're going to see what
Talk
happens.
to Emmitt Smith for 10 minutes only.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say, but what I'm going to say is yes.
We're gonna play it by ear.
Can we cut clips of Darren really quick to make it?
No, we'll play him in his entirety either
No.
tomorrow or after Emmitt.
I know, but we promised people he'd be on today.
You just look.
Listen.
You can't
He's-
worry about.
there's also something tonight
We're
happening.
upgrading.
Oh, yeah.
We're upgrading. Not upgrading. That's a bad word.
Upgrading?
We're rolling with the punches.
That's
here.
what I'm saying.
We're
Okay.
rolling with the punches here.
Speaking of rolling with the punches, let's talk some Cowboys, huh?
Yeah, let's talk Cowboys. Emmitt's going to be here, but
Yeah.
he's not here. Now what?
What's your favorite Emmitt story, Clarence?
I'm a pro broadcaster. I don't care. Anything could go. Anybody could not be here, and I could be ready
You
to
have a
rock.
favorite Emmitt
we're ready
story?
to talk. We're going to talk to Emmitt about Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
He's making his way around, and he's talked to people about,
Same height and weight.
Ashton Genty would get beat up here because of his offensive line.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
I know,
he's actually been quoted as saying that. So
Like, this offensive line is not great. It might not be. It's probably not good. They don't suck.
no, they don't. They don't
like
suck.
the Cowboys have an okay offensive line. The idea that Ashton Genty just couldn't run behind Rico Dowdle ran behind.
Well, yeah,
4.6.
that's my frustration when people keep saying, well, and Jesse sent me
I saw that.
a Slack message and sent everybody a Slack message because Michael Parton says, well, King Henry wouldn't have made a difference here, and it was great that he went to Baltimore. Yes, it was great for his career, but to say that he wouldn't make the Cowboys better is false.
Right. He would have made them better.
He would have made them better. One or two wins, we're talking about a difference. If he's different at one or two wins, that's enough. But to sit up here and say he would not have had the season he had in Baltimore, but he most definitely would have made the Cowboys better.
If Rico Dowdle is averaging 4.6 yards per carry under this Cowboys offensive line, I think Derrick Henry is at least averaging 5 yards a carry. I think that's a plausible, safe thing to say.
And it may change things. It may change the way people play you. Like the Cowboys' offense is weird to prepare for when it's backup quarterback and a running back that you don't fear. And it's just like, I don't know. Everything's a little bit wonky. You put Derrick Henry in there, and they probably worry about Derrick Henry. And that is like declaring before the game starts, Cooper Rush, good luck, brother. It's man coverage across the board. He would have helped. But I think that's the thing about football that is, it gets pushed aside because it's fun to talk about the big names and have big opinions and all of these different things. There ain't a position in football that you could have had a Derrick Henry at that was going to change the Cowboys season last year.
No, not in its entirety.
An all-pro left tackle doesn't save your season. An all-pro, whatever. You ran out of bodies. Mahomes, maybe. There's one position. But anywhere else, one guy was not going to change your season. That doesn't mean I don't want better players on my roster.
No doubt.
I want all of them. And so we're going to draft them all.
And I do think Ashton Genty in this system could actually do that, to be honest with you. Could instill a little. I think when defensive coordinators are going to scout the Cowboys next season, if they had Ashton Genty, they're going to be like, hey, circle X, whatever number he is, and be like, hey, this is a guy we got to keep an eye out for at all times. And then it's like, oh, wait, but you also got to keep out for 88 and watch Dak Prescott and play at. I think you just add another factor that defensive coordinators are not only going to have to plan for, but honestly kind of think about it and be up at night and kind of wonder, okay, how do we do off this if they do that? I think that they didn't have that. I love Rico Dowdle, right? And I think he is a starting NFL running back. Could be I think he'd be fantastic back here to pair off with Ashton Genty. But in terms of instilling fear in defensive coordinators, I don't think that Rico Dowdle's 4.6 yards per carry really did that. There was a stretch, though. I think you saw the difference would have made, and you saw what Cooper Rush did with it.
I wonder if Rico had his good year because teams were so surprised when he started getting the ball because they were watching tape and Zeke was getting the ball. And they were like, oh, wait, this guy's moving faster than we thought they would.
Potentially.
Because Zeke existed. Yeah.
Listen, improve the running game. They're talking about improving the running game. That's the focus. Whether it's Genty or back in the draft with Rico, the focus should be improving the running game. The thing that Genty brings to people, again, he does have the big play. The guy, see how many times big play, you need big plays. You want to help your quarterback. If you want to help Dak, you don't want to be throwing about 30 and 40 times a game. You want to have balance. You want to have a running game. Get a top-tier running back.
Jeff, I'm curious from a scouting perspective, too, because there were so many times on film watching Ashton Genty, and I think, yes, the Mountain West part is going to be a part of this, right? But I was like, oh, my God, is he really that fast? I'm not sure. And then I saw that the guy that was, with him 5 yards ago is now 10 yards behind him somehow, defying all physics. So is that a scouting term? Is that hard to scout when it, looks like he's going slow, but clearly he's gaining
distance? And I think that part's going to get easier for NFL teams as we go because they have the GPS numbers.
Yeah.
There's NFL teams that aren't really worried about 40 time anymore.
Yeah.
Because if I've got him on tape and I know that he's hitting 22 miles an hour, that sucker can run.
Yeah.
And but no, that's always a thing when you're watching guys play and it's like, did he just get run down? Is he run away from this guy? Is he doing that? Now we're just guessing at 40 times, and then the 40 doesn't really tell you either because it's just a matter of who's doing the best job of training for a drill instead of doing football. I have no worries about Ashton Genty's speed. I think that it's fine.
Yeah.
And he even, because we talk about the schedule, he tore up
the Ducks.
He tore up the Ducks pretty good.
We won that game.
You won the game. And then when they lost to Penn State, right?
Yeah, but how many missed tackles did he force?
Right,
yeah.
And that's what matters because I was getting stuff from people after that where it's like, yeah, what about Genty now? He just got his butt kicked. And I'm like, I don't think you watched him play.
Yeah.
Ashton Genty was the second best player on that field behind Abdul Carter if I had to stack him up. And he broke something teen tackles.
I think it was 19 tackles.
Against Penn State. They just happen to have 30 of the 32 best players on the field that day. Ashton Jeanty was amazing.
Yeah.
He is going to be a very, very, very good running back. Now, he could go to a scenario. If the Cowboys can't block, Ashton Jeanty won't be good. But he'll be better than whatever else it was going to be. And then if you get if you get that line going, then it's just I am looking for somebody who's going to do more than what I give you.
Yeah.
If I can get you started, then what? Like, that's what Derrick Henry is. Derrick Henry is, if I get you going, then what? Well, then the next guy's dead, and I'm going to throw him through planet Earth, and the next guy's going to fall off. And, guys who break tackles and make big plays in the run game, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and then what can you do when we also do block it up well? When we do give you some space? I mean, I think that's what you've seen with Saquon Barkley this season in Philadelphia. Yeah, that one spin move he had in the NFC Championship against Washington, that was 28 yards downfield. And I think that's the argument against the Cowboys potentially drafting Ashton Jeanty is like, well, if you don't give him that floor, that 28-yard red carpet to start off, then he's not going to do much here. I think that's just in addition to what he can do if you don't give him anything. And I think you got to have players, Mahomes does this all the time, different position, where it's like, okay, here's our plan, right? Here's our play. We're going to attack this. This is our reads. And ultimately, oh, wait, all these guys are covered. What now? What is your what shit or what the heck moment? That's
what shit?
What shit? What you say?
What shit?
What shit?
You don't get the curse. You don't get the curse. You don't have a cursing license.
Chris Sims
Jeff has a cursing license
the other day. I can get
Chris Sims has a cursing license. You don't have a cursing
I did
license.
apply.
When
I
do you get
applied.
this license? Is it a carrying card kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
I applied for it.
You applied for it?
I applied for my cuss card.
Your cuss card? Where do I get a cuss card?
It's very much like when you get enough punches on a thing, you get a free Sando somewhere.
So if you do 10 free S's or 10 S's, you get a free F?
Yeah, 10 S's get you an F, but
Yeah.
you're not allowed to go multi-S a day, which I
Got
just
you.
did, which is
If you go
very
past
unfortunate.
59, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if our
Yeah.
show goes past 59 minutes, we literally get to do whatever we want.
After 59 minutes.
And that is going to happen today because I think we're going to play Woody. If we don't have Emmitt show up in the next few minutes, we'll still play Darren Woodson, so our show is going to go
I
long
think Emmitt
today.
is showing up.
His people just told me he was walking through security 5 minutes ago, so.
All right, let's go get him. Somebody grab one of those cameras and follow me. I'm going to wear the mic.
Yeah.
We're going to go find Emmitt
He
Smith.
says walking through security, so, hopefully, listen, we're doing this on the fly. We're trying to give you guys the best stuff we
Yeah,
get.
we're gonna get Emmitt.
You just don't understand. Radio Row is a zoo.
Yeah.
It's a zoo. Also, if we don't get the Darren stuff today on a show, we do have the full interview that's going to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the full thing is going to be on there. We'll check it out, and we'll play a clip from it tomorrow.
And the thing about Darren, he's up for the Hall of Fame. The final vote will be tonight. Here's a guy who deserves to be in.
He'll get screwed again.
Deserves
I've
to
seen
be
this show
in. If
before.
there's anybody, from the 90s and to represent that defense outside of Charles Haley as Darren Woodson. Yes, certainly Deion's in, but Deion wasn't on the 3-time Super Bowl champion Cowboys. He was only on one.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
people forget how good that defense was.
That's the number one defense in the league.
I
People
know.
don't, the
I think it
triplets
was
get
the
a
best football team to ever take a field.
the triplets get a lot of attention, but the defense was number one in the league. And people talk about Michael and Troy and Emmitt and that offensive line, but don't sleep on that defense. That defense was the foundation.
And we talked with Darren too about he was ahead of his time. Like if he's in today's NFL, being the hybrid safety linebacker nickel guy that can go down and cover and also lay the wood on you, like that's a guy that I think is making a lot of money in today's NFL. Because that versatility, right?
Yeah.
I don't think true safeties
No.
get valued, and I don't think nickel corners get valued.
Like Brian Branch is Woody today,
yeah,
right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm a nickel corner, deep safety, down safety, dime linebacker.
Whatever you need,
I
I
got
can do
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Woody's not in the Hall of Fame is really dumb. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that really confuses me. I don't know what the case is that he shouldn't be, especially considering some of the other guys that are. It's just weird. The 90s Cowboys were the best team to ever take a football field. And he's a sweet man, too. Like, how is he the one who's getting kept out? It's very strange.
No, and the interview with him is fantastic. We got to do a little soft out here at 59.
What's that?
We got to do a soft out at 59.
Yeah, oh, no, I got it. Yeah.
Do you got it?
Yeah, I'm all over
You
it.
got it?
I'm all over it.
Are you?
Yeah, at 59, you just soft out.
Well, it's 59.
You got about what, Clarence? You got about 9 minutes. Who does? Until Emmitt will be here? And then we're going to record Emmitt.
Oh, we have 9 minutes with him. This is
Oh, that's all
perfect.
we
So we'll
have
soft
with
out
him.
now. We'll do 9 minutes. You guys are going to talk. We're going to see Emmitt.
Yeah, that's cool. John, do you have to be seated for the soft out? Is there anything you have to hit?
Or he's coming on right now, yeah.
John, do you have to be seated for the soft out? Okay. Well, then thanks for joining us on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. That was the soft out.
That was the soft out. That was a good soft out.
Now,
Now.
we're just going to come right back because Emmitt Smith is joining us. He's walking around the curtain dealy right now. Why are you on this stream?
What's up?
I don't even know. Looky here.
Here we go. I can hear Emmitt.
Emmitt needs to be turned up.
How about now?
Turn on my mic. Yeah, I got you.
There
I
he
got you. Turn on my
is.
mic.
There he is. Hey, everybody. Look, it's I guess the word literal would be wrong. I was about to say it's a literal goat, but then you would be a goat, but you're a person. But it is the greatest running back to ever touch a football field, Emmitt Smith. How about that? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you squeezing us in short notice, man.
Yeah, short notice. Yeah, y'all give me short notice. You know the Super Bowl was coming up. You know I do this. I've been doing this for the last 13, 14 years, Clarence.
I'm sorry. My bad. Blame
I
me.
mean, like, damn.
Who you representing right quick? Let's get that out the way.
I'm representing Tequila Heredota.
Heredota.
Oh.
Yeah, legends.
I have 3 bottles at the
Ultra.
house. I have 3 bottles at the house.
Yeah, I normally come bearing gifts, but since you wasn't on the list.
Oh, man. So we have to get that back home. We'll get that back home. Can I get that?
You know how I do it.
Yeah, we'll get that back home for sure. Let's just get straight to it, Emmitt.
You love to get straight to it.
Well, I mean, we don't have that much time.
Yeah, let's get straight to it.
Let's get straight to it.
Yeah, all the pleasantries are over with.
He's not much of a pleasantry.
He said you hate Ashton Genty.
I never said I hate
That's
it.
what Clarence told me you said.
See, don't do that. See, don't.
Y'all be putting shit out there that's not even real. So
Don't do that.
Let's keep that. Yeah, because people only hear parts of what they want to hear. They want to hear and they cipher what they want to cipher.
Yeah.
Then they go ahead and regurgitate the bull junk, which is not factual.
Yeah.
So
Should the Cowboys draft Frisco homeboy Ashton Genty?
I don't think so.
Why?
I don't think the Cowboys are clearly understand what they really want. They go on at the excitement and thrills and stuff, and they don't have a plan for them.
Right.
First of all, they don't even have a plan truly for Dak Prescott.
Right.
Let alone CeeDee Lamb. Where's the plan? And the plan that they have right now has not made sense over the last couple of years. So you all of a sudden you're going to wake up and come up with a plan for a new kid?
Right.
Plan for what you already have and allow things to fit that plan and be committed to that plan. And I think that's been the problem.
How disconcerting is it, though, when the lack of a plan, when you start thinking about the last few years, and they say, hey, we're going to go all in and all that stuff.
All in what?
Yeah, they didn't do it last year.
No.
So, I mean, how concerning.
So if you're not going all in, what is all in? First of all, we got to ask ourselves the question, what does the all in mean to the Cowboys?
Right.
Yeah.
What does that really mean?
Something way less than it means to the Eagles.
Because we're talking all in the brand or all in on the operations?
Yep. Right. And so I'm glad you're about it because it seems we talked about it. I keep saying it. You can't serve two masters. It seems like they serving the brand more so than serving winning. Is that what you see?
Put it this way. I come from the school, and I think we all come from the school when the Cowboys was bought by Jerry Jones in '89. There was one mission and one direction. We had to get that thing going back north because going south he was not investing in something that was going south.
Right.
So there was a vision, there was a strategy, and a game plan.
Right.
And that strategy and that vision and that game plan entails winning and reasserting our brand dominance into the National Football League. He hired a guy to do that from an operations standpoint. He and his family took care of the branding on the other side.
Right.
Operationally, we had to go from 1-15 to 7-9. And when we did not have everything in place and it was not being utilized on the football field to get us into the winning category, because operationally, the guy that was running the ship said, this shit doesn't work. Right. I need somebody here to bring something together for all my guys. He let the guy go, and he brought in Norv Turner. Norv Turner comes in and brings stability to the operations. Right. Defensively, we was fine. Right. The better the offense got, the better defense got. Right. The better defense got, the better the offense got. Right. And then we took off on a winning ways. Functionality on the other side, on the branding side, started to come back because of winning. Right. Brought things back. Then we started winning Super Bowls, and it just started to grow and morph into something else. Then something happened. A change happened.
Right.
And it wasn't Sam Cooke writing the song, "A change gonna come," neither. A change happened. And when that change happened, we fell off just a tad bit.
Right.
But what was left was the remnants of what was already built.
Right.
And what was already built, players took it upon themselves to take it to the next level and say, we can do it. And we end up doing it. After that, all HEL broke loose.
Right.
And from that point on, there has not been a complete realignment or commitment to excellence in that area.
Right.
There's been a commitment to excellence on the brand side.
Right.
But on the operations, when it comes down to the football side, there's no commitment to who we are and the brand that was built.
Right.
And the brand that was built was balance.
Right.
Troy, Michael, myself. That's why you call us the triplets.
Right.
You cannot have one without the other.
Right.
You got to have it all. You got to have a ground attack as well as an air attack. Now, Ashton Jenney could be good for us.
Right.
Under the right plan.
Right.
And under the right commitment.
Right.
And under the right vision.
Right.
Right now, I think these things are bifurcated. That's why you're getting all this disjointedness throughout the last 25,
How
30 years.
frustrating is that you guys, the Chiefs, are getting ready to do a three-peat. You guys could have done a three-peat, but y'all let your coach go.
We didn't do nothing. we dealt with the remnants of it.
Right.
And the fallout of it turned out to be catastrophic for us.
Yeah.
Because losing one of your leaders or losing your leader, and it has never been done in the history of the game.
Right.
Well, you have a two-time back-to-back head coach no longer there for whatever reason. Reasons unbegotten to anybody.
Right.
Even though if he wanted to leave and move on and do his own thing, that's fine. At least communicate that.
Right.
But the way y'all left it,
Right.
left it open-ended.
Right.
And if it's open-ended, you left space for people to pick at it and figure out what the problem was and point the fingers at wherever they wanted to point the fingers.
Right.
Close the gap.
Right.
Take the guesswork out of it. That's what I'm saying. And take the guesswork out of this. At the end of the day, you got to get back to being an effective running team.
Right.
And build that team from the inside out. Finesse ball does not work for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
That's not your brand. Your brand is supposed to be synonymous with excellence on the field as well as excellence off the field.
Right now, the brand is 30 years without a Super Bowl. You guys get ready to celebrate your 30th anniversary of that last Super Bowl title team.
Bro,
And-
I'm celebrating almost 22 years of becoming an all-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
I mean, and that hasn't moved.
Right.
But yeah, that's still something to celebrate.
Right.
But 20 years, and I ain't playing ball no more.
Right.
I can't get another yard. But we can get more Super Bowls.
Right.
So when you start talking about celebrating something, what you going to celebrate something 30 years ago? How does that look?
Right.
How does that even feel?
How crazy that you haven't been back, that this organization, excellence, and the Bears have the biggest gap between the cats. 15 years. The Bears haven't been there. Yours is 30.
With that gap, you have afforded everyone to catch up to you. To catch up to you. Now, they're not going to surpass you from a branding standpoint. But you have allowed people to enter into a realm that you should have been, that should have been behind you, completely behind you. Now you sharing the stage with folks. The only thing you proud and got to talk about now is how successful the organization is as a whole. I'm proud of the organization being worth $7 billion, $8 billion, but that ain't affecting the success of what the organization was built off of. The organization was built off of championships, off of Roger Staubach, and off of the history of the game.
So when you say like about Ashton Jenney and like vision and plan, and that if that's not there, the one part of it, there's nothing we can do about, right? Like,
There's a lot we can't do about it.
We can't do anything about
change-
Jerry's stuff.
We can sit here and talk about it all we want to.
Right.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
We can talk about it, but he and the family and the team, and they got to make those decisions, those hard decisions.
But
and making those hard decisions also admits that I didn't do right.
Right.
So will they?
No, they won't. Come on.
I'm just.
I mean, it may not be all of them. It may just be him.
What I wanted to get to is because we had specified a player in that.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there's a different aspect to focus on as step one before doing that, as in like fortifying lines, et cetera?
I think fortifying your true vision, and I'm going to say true vision, your authentic vision of who you are. When you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you think about?
Anger, aggression,
Tough.
violence.
Defense.
Hold on. Defense, tough, all that, right?
Yeah.
And when you see the Steelers play, no matter what kind of talent they have, they do what?
They play hard.
Play defense,
They
play
play
tough.
hard. They play
Play
tough.
defense,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And when you think about Baltimore Ravens, what do you think about?
I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
I think about them smashing
Physical
each other
football,
down.
You
yeah.
think about it. That goes with everything. Right. That goes with everything. But when you're thinking about the Cowboys, what do you think about?
Jerry.
Who brand is being built? Who's winning?
Right.
Jerry ain't winning.
Right.
The team ain't winning. So
Oh, Jerry's
There's a-
winning.
he's winning publicly
Yeah.
and financially.
Financially.
Financially, yes.
Yeah.
But he's not winning where it really counts. And that part hurts.
Yeah.
Hurts him. It hurts everything. Because no matter what happens, if God forbid, when our time is up, all that's left is what you left us with and what you left us to talk about. All that travels with you is what you left us with and what you left us here to talk about, period. And so I would hate to see us not get there.
Right.
And having to answer these questions and try to be as truthful and as honest as we possibly can without trying to be offensive. Because at the end of the day, I want to see us win too.
Right.
And if they don't win, hell, I'm going to be happy regardless because you can keep talking about the 1993 and 94 and you're going to keep talking about the Cowboys of old.
I know one thing. We know what you left us with. You left us with 3 Super Bowl titles. You left us as the all-time leading rusher in NFL history that nobody's ever going to surpass the way they
don't
do
know
running
that.
backs
We
down.
don't know that.
The way they do running
they
backs
may push
down.
the regular season out to 20 games.
Yeah,
You never know.
Then it's an
Right.
asterisk.
Well, that's the only way they're going to
Asterisk
do
on
it, you know. But that's the only way they're going to do it, man. We appreciate you coming on. Again, talk about Harold Duro before we get out of here and let you go.
It's the number 1 tequila on the market. It is the cleanest and it is the smoothest. Ultra is one of the best, if not the best. Ultra Cristalino tequila on the marketplace right now. Herradura does a great job in terms of how they produce their tequilas. All of their tequilas are produced the same with the exact same agaves. The same process is done. And the way that you change Cristalino into a double barrel reposado is what they use is the barrels.
Right.
And the barrels can come from Kentucky where you have Jack Daniels and their Woodford Reserve. And they can blend these things together.
Look at how happy it makes it.
Shoot, yeah.
Look at how happy it makes it.
I was smiling.
It is the best. It is absolutely the best. And what I love about it, it does my body good.
It's the best. They're aligned with the best.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Love
Alignment.
it. Thank you, Emmitt.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Come on, Cowboys.
Come
I
on,
mean,
Cowboys.
you know, I would love to be sitting here talking about, man, we in the bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love to be talking about, man, we made it to the NFC Championship game. I'd love to be going to it. You know what I'm
lovely.
saying? It'd be like, because the Cowboys will have to make a decision.
Right.
Who's going to be the honorary captain? You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have to win at least 3 so all 3 triplets can have a chance to be the honorary captain. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that I want to see, and I don't want to be too damn long in the tooth before
Right.
that happens.
Right.
I want to
Exactly.
have celebratory Herradura.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's
Exactly.
right.
Emmitt's got to go.
Y'all be good.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmitt Smith. And I suppose we've got time.
We got time.
We should just run it, right?
Thanks, Emmitt.
We should just run Woody.
Yeah, do you want to just run Woody now?
Yeah, so we're just going to keep rolling.
Packed
And
show today,
we
guys.
talked to because the Hall of Fame is what? The
Tonight.
Hall of Fame
Tonight.
is
NFL
tonight.
honors is
and
tonight.
I mean, if you're interviewing about the Hall of Fame, we need to play it today. So Darren Woodson is about to join the broadcast, and that'll be the final thing of our broadcast day. And then maybe we'll still be sitting here to sign off for you. But enjoy some Darren Woodson on the DLLS Cowboys podcast.
All right, welcome back to the DLLS Cowboys podcast, and we got a very, very special guest here. We have the great Darren Woodson, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 4-time All-Pro, and Hall of Fame finalist once again. Darren, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I wonder what's wrong with your boy here.
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I walk up and you like, oh, something's wrong,
No,
man.
no.
You're in a bad mood, man.
No.
Yo,
I'm in a great mood, man.
So, Darren, a little insight here. You want to know what's wrong? The first 2 days, they had rock stars available at the front,
right?
So we got our caffeine, we got it in, We've relied on that the last 2 days.
They didn't have it.
They don't have it. This coffee ain't doing it, Darren.
I get it. Nah, I get that. That's me too. I got to have a good cup of coffee.
I might have went out with Shannon Sharp and those guys last night a little bit too.
Hey. Okay.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I know.
You know, Michael was there, Warren Sapp was there. You know,
now you name dropping.
Former teammate.
Yeah. Okay, I understand now why you so sluggish.
Sluggish. I'm not sluggish. I'm okay. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's this week for you?
Life is good, man. I'm getting back from a company retreat in Palm Beach.
Right.
Nice.
So I came back this way. I flew back instead of going back to Dallas. I flew straight back from here, from Palm Beach to here, and I got energy and rested I'm ready to go, man.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Another Super Bowl, another week. You're up for the Hall of Fame. Butterflies, excitement. What's your mindset going into this Hall of Fame?
Man, it's always, look, she'll always look at it as it's one thing that I wanted, of course. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you I did not want to be recognized as one of the best players to play the game. I mean, that's hands down. But it's also family as well. It's mom, it's everybody that teachers that poured into me all those years, man. And they're asking me all the questions about the Hall of Fame and coaches and teammates and all. And I want to get in for the dudes that I played with in the '90s, man. I want the defensive guys. We got a lot of offensive guys that are in, but there's some dudes on the defense side of the ball, man. I just want to recognize them.
Right, and that's my point when I look at it. And everybody thinks about the team of the night. They talk about the triplets and the offensive guys, but you guys have the number one defensive league.
Yeah,
and the defense needs to be represented, and needs to be represented more than just by Charles Haley. And Dion was just there for one of the Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I mean, when you talk about 3-time Super Bowl champion. That team, the foundation of that team, you need to be there to represent that defense
I want to represent
in that era.
Yeah.
And you deserve to be there. It's not you need to be there. You should be in there.
Them dudes taught me how to be a pro, man. I woke up every day with Tony Tolbert and Larry Brown and Kevin Smith and James Washington, Thomas Everett. I mean, dudes that every day taught me how to be a pro.
Right.
And I want to recognize them. When I get up on that stage and I put that jacket on, dude, they're going to be there, and I'm going to recognize each and every last one of them.
Right. And you finish your career as a team all-time leading tackler. And the game has changed. I mean, people don't understand that you were a safety, but you played nickel corner. You covered the likes of Jerry Rice.
I could play today.
Exactly.
I can play today.
You can play today.
My game transitions.
Right.
Hands down.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I've talked to people and they say Darren Woodson was ahead of his time a little bit with it. I mean, how much do you think that you would actually fit in today's world?
It would have been easy because that's exactly what I did my entire career. I probably played safety the least.
Right.
I played 2 Super Bowls as the nickel corner, basically, and or linebacker. I did a little bit of everything, but I enjoyed it because I learned how to do a lot. I have the versatility when I was in college. Lovie Smith, who was my position coach, taught me how to cover, how to blitz, how to play zone. And then when I got into the league with Dave Campo really sharpened me up, and then Zimmer put the cherry on top. But it was just the fact that I just knew that I could do a lot of things and run down on special teams. And look, I can tell you this. I think I have more surgeries. I had 11 surgeries, and most of them are probably from special teams.
Right, running down special
teams. Yeah, running through that brick, that wall, right?
Yeah.
Just transitioning from that era to this current era as a 3-time Super Bowl champion, you're getting ready to come up on your 30th anniversary of since that last title in 1995.
30 years.
30 years. Cowboys have not sniffed the Super Bowl.
I would have never have thought since we won that last one. If you would have said it's going to take you another 30 years, I'd have said, you're out of your damn mind. Right? Just because of the organization. Look, we're still talking about the number one franchise in sports.
Right.
Regardless, I haven't been there in 30 years, and we're still talking about the number one franchise in sports. Right. And this organization needs to get back there. But it doesn't start it's not like it starts from going out and drafting guys or whatnot. It starts from up top. Right. You got to make the right decisions up top, and then it bleeds down into the players, and then the players firmly believing in the culture and what the task is at hand. That doesn't change from business. I'm a business owner. It doesn't change from from football to business, if you understand what the task is and what your role is within the organization, and then you have something to build on. And I think that's what we built on early on when I came in. You kind of knew who the guy was. It was Jimmy,
right.
Hands down. So it was Jimmy, and Jimmy told everyone else. And it started with Troy, and he used to always say, it rolls downhill, right? Because could you imagine when practice was going bad, Jimmy would rail at Troy, and guess who Troy would rail at? The rest of us, right? So that's how, but you understood what the mentality was, and I'm not sure if they're there right now. That's the problem. And I'm not, look, here's the thing. I'm not in that locker room.
But you're in that building.
No, I'm in the building. My business is in the building. I can see it, but I'm not in that. And I'll just throw it out there, man, because I see a lot of the guys out, I see Dak and I see, some of the players, and I'm not in that locker room, man.
Right.
I kind of know what it takes.
Right.
And it takes a commitment that you cannot believe. It takes the same commitment that the dude that's playing in this for the third straight year, like his commitment, Mahomes' commitment to that organization and to those players, it takes that type of commitment. And when they see him play at the highest level and do the right things in the offseason and prepare and all, that's what it takes. And I'm not sure, what the Cowboys or how they look at it. I know this. I can look out the window. My office oversees the field. I see 4 out there all the damn time.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Season ends, 2 weeks later, 4 is out there throwing balls.
Right.
Like, I know he's got it. Does everybody else have it?
Right.
And that's the thing. You can't – there's an off-season program. You know what the off-season program is? It's called voluntary mandatory. You show your ass up. If you want to win, you show up. And I don't know if everyone's showing up.
Well, you talk about that trickle-down effect with Dak Prescott, obviously being one guy that's proponent of it, but how much more would you need from that locker room then to have the trickle-down?
You got to have – everybody has to buy into it. It's not like you have to be the best team. You don't have to be the best team, but if you can buy into whatever it is, whatever the goal is, and, again, it's leadership from the top, it's the coaching staff, but then it's the players firmly believing that they have a goal. And that goal is to win a championship. And there's nothing else that's going to get in the way of it. Family's not going to get in the way with it. Beef inside the locker room. He's making more money than I'm making. It is do your job.
How about the owner? Does he
It's
get in
the
the way?
same.
Does he get in the way?
I think it all starts from the top.
Right.
I'm a business owner, right?
Right.
Things ain't going well. Guess what? It starts with me.
Right.
And I don't think that Jerry's deflecting from that. Jerry understands that. He's got the opportunity, man. That's the life about Jerry right now.
Right.
The number one franchise in the world.
Right.
Haven't won a championship in 30 years.
Right.
The number one – you ain't hearing me.
I hear you.
The number one franchise in the world.
So that's what I'm saying. Is it more focused on being the number one franchise than football? Is it more focused on being the richest franchise in sports than football? Can you serve two masters?
Look, that man is the most competitive man I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
He just ain't got it right. And he deserves the criticism. He does. As a GM,
right.
He deserves the criticism for not getting there. But you can't tell me that he doesn't understand it, and he's not running from it. He's trying to get back there. I hear this all the time. Well, he's not trying. And this. No, damn that, dude. He's trying. He just ain't figured out the formula.
Right.
Do you think you talked about being a business owner and, hey, it starts with me, right? And obviously we talked about the Forbes list. We talked about how that is successful for the Cowboys. Do you think it is harder, though, to change your ways and start with you as a business owner when, hey, we have this going right? And I think that we'll get this other part right. We've done it before. We'll get there. Is it harder?
Yeah, it is
to change?
hard, man. It really is. It's hard, but if anybody understands that, he should understand that because he's had so much success in his businesses and all. But you have to roll with the punches. Things change. Things change. The mindset changes. The way you build a team today is totally different than how you built it 10, 15 years ago. And they gotta adjust and roll with some of those changes. Look, there's some things that I see all the time. I won't say it here, but there's some things that I see, and I'm sure there's some things that you see, and you say, man, they could get better at this if they just like this offseason.
Right.
My criticism is this offseason. You had an opportunity to get better this offseason.
Nothing to get better.
And you didn't do anything.
They weren't all in.
And that's criticism that's coming from a guy like myself that's looking outside in. I always feel like I have the Cowboys. I know all the problems. Hey, you can do this, A, B, C, D, until you're in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Until you're in the business, and you're like, oh, no, it doesn't work that way. But I do feel like there's some opportunities that they have as far as player acquisitions that they can go out and get.
What's your opinion on Schotty replacing Mike McCarthy? Offensive coordinator, did not call plays. Nobody else was looking to make him head coach. Nobody else was looking to make him the offensive coordinator. But yet he's the Cowboys head coach.
You know what, man? It's like you I made this comparison to my wife earlier. She was talking about, like politically you have presidents that come in and, when the president comes in, I don't care who it is. Right. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Obama. I'm going to support whoever the president.
Right.
Regardless.
Right.
I may not like who's in there, but he's going to get 100% of my respect. Right. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to be a better American for him, right? And it's the same thing with Schotty right now. Look, was he my choice? No. Mm-hmm. But they felt like they didn't want a ton of turnaround. Right. They wanted to keep it simple, stupid, making sure that Dak and the rest of the offense stays on point and on tack, and they're not turning it around like they did the defense last year. Right. Took them 12 weeks to get some semblance of – and they have a ton of injuries as well, I mean, to boot. But they want to stay the course, and they feel like Schotty's going to keep them intact. I'm okay. I'm gonna ride with it. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna ride with it, and we're gonna find out real soon if he's the guy.
But is it frustrating though when you don't try to go get the best? You're riding with it because he's the guy. And I know you know, but the qualifications is like look,
of course,
that's frustration. This is not the guy everybody wants. So I mean, you can say I'm going with it. But,
I mean that's the criticism. That is fundamentally the criticism because you're like, man, he's been there for a while. Things, he wasn't calling the plays in. I mean, there's a ton of criticisms. Right. But they saw something that evidently that I didn't see, right? And we're going to find out. Like, here's the criticism again. Right. We're going to find out.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you buy the idea that one thing they've been preaching is, hey, we're able to keep continuity but also get change? And I think that there is some merit to that in terms of offensive play calling, a guy who wasn't calling plays the last 2 years. But in that locker room, in terms of the familiarity, is there a potential danger in keeping continuity from a regime that you just kind of told that, hey, we're going to split up?
Yeah, there is. There's some danger there, but I think that's going to be up to some of the players as well to keep the continuity. Look, and I think if you look at this organization, you look at the players that are within that locker room, and it's time for them to step up. And I know we talk all about coaching and ownership and all, but it also falls on the players, man. It really does. It falls on them to start policing themselves, start showing up on time, doing the right thing, making sure that they're playing not for individual, but for the team. Like, there's a lot of that of falling in line. And I'm not sure if that's where, again, I'm not in that locker room, but I'm not sure if everybody's 100% on the same page. I will tell you this, though. I watched this team play the entire season. And you ever really want to judge a team to see if they lost respect for the coaching staff or if they're not playing hard? Just look at the special teams. That team played hard, man.
Right.
They played hard for 17 games. They did. They were unrelenting on that special teams. They ran down the field. They tried hard. They had a ton of injuries. They filled a guy in. He kept going hard. Like, there was no quit in this organization. That's why I was surprised when McCarthy left, because I thought, okay, they dealt with a lot of injuries. They had a down year, but they played hard for this guy. So I don't think that's the issue. It's just, what can they do this offseason to find the ways to get better and build on the culture?
Before we let you go, now we've been here for a second, but you brought up Patrick Mahomes. They're going for 3 straight Super Bowl titles. Is there some anger, bitterness? You guys had a chance to get 3 straight Super Bowl titles.
Yeah. Head coach got let go, though.
The head coach. I know you won 3 in 4 years, but you could have won 3 straight. You could have done something unprecedented, and they got taken away from you.
Yeah, got taken away from us. I was on the show earlier, and I was listening to Troy, and Troy was like, I don't even think about it. And I'm like, yeah. I still think about it.
Right.
I still think about the opportunity because I was caught in the moment. I was in the moment. We were all in the moment of repeating. Like, we just won 2 back-to-back.
Youngest team in the league, all of that.
We knew that we were going to beat San Fran again because we had their number, right? I mean, it was like we just got to stay the course. Right. And I just – look, man, at least I feel like we lost. We had like 4. We had at least 4 in us.
Right.
And then things probably would have changed. But I admire greatness, man. Right. I do. I watch Mahomes and what they're doing, and people are taking shots at them about the referees and all that, and they beat them.
Right.
beat them. You got a problem with it? Beat them.
Right.
But until then, man, I remember watching the Bulls back when I was a kid and watching Jordan. And I'm not comparing Jordan to Mahomes and all that, but I watch a team play at the highest level with the Bulls, and now I'm witnessing a team that has a chance to three-peat, and I admire it, man. I really do, because no one knows what they go through.
Right, no
one knows how much work he's putting in and that team is putting in.
No doubt. Well, Cowboys legend Darren Woodson, Super Bowl champ, Hall of Fame finals. I know a lot of Cowboys fans are pulling for you, but Darren, thank you so much for taking the time.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, get in a better mood.
I'm good, man.
We got that rock star.
We all silly like the mayor.